Hi, everybody. I'm your host of Dare to Dream, Graham Williamson. I'm an intuitive, evidential medium and psychic, and we are on WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network Radio, TV, and podcasts. We are phenomenal. We are the Going Solo Network Radio, as I've just said, TV and podcasts, number one internet singles talk network, and it's going bold Wednesday. My show's on bi-weekly, so you can go to the WGSN-DB Facebook and YouTube for live shows. So there's plenty for you to look at. There's so many varieties of shows. But my show is about spirit. I'm a medium. And the show topic today, CC will have to remind me, because I never think, it's connections with self and spirit. I've talked similar about this in a previous podcast, but I've noticed a lot of people are passing, some of my friends, and I'm hearing a lot of people are passing and feel very isolated, feel very alone, which is understandable. Grief hits people differently. Every single person is different. Some show emotions, some don't. There's nothing wrong with either. But you see, most of us that do not understand spirit, or I should say most of you that don't understand spirit, feel that's it. You're never going to talk to them again, never going to see them again, never going to be able to feel them around you again. But the biggest loss is the physical, being able to hold, then being able to hear them talking to you, interacting with it, the physical side. That is a big loss. And I've experienced a lot as well, and loss. My mum, my dad, friends, relatives. But the one thing that's kept me surviving, kept my energy up, is not ignoring the sadness. It's understanding the sadness. I have learned that the spirit never dies. The person, physical form, passes on. It ceases working. But the spirit leaves the physical and goes into the spiritual. You can call it the astral plane, heaven, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to say which is right. But your spirit inside that animates your physical body is of far stronger stuff and everlasting stuff than you can imagine. I don't fully understand it. I've been doing this for most of my life. I don't understand it. But that's the beauty of it. You don't have to understand it. You either accept it or you don't. You know or you don't know. But understanding that your spirit doesn't cease growing, maturing, evolving, living when your physical body ceases to work is a weight off my shoulders. I know I'm going to see my loved ones when I pass. I see my loved ones at the moment, those who've passed. I'm talking to people who I know are not physically here anymore. But how can I do that? How is it that I can connect with those people, those loved ones? Even the dogs, cats that have been in my life, even a hamster, yeah, fish, whatever you love and are bonded with, that connection is never lost. You may forget it at times, but when you go upstairs, all those love connections are energized and made manifest, made into a reality you can see, feel, hear, and taste, I believe. Whatever the senses are when you're up there, all your memories are reactivated. Because the best analogy I could use is when you buy a computer, it's got all these programs in it. And you have to plug it in, you have to make the computer alive. Same for us. Oops, I'm just hearing thunder. We've had a power outage, an outage, sorry. So if I disappear, it's not my fault. But you've got this memories in the computer. Programs are called. And the same thing for the brain. You've got memories. And they're skitting around your head. Some you're conscious of, most of them you're not. But then suddenly you remember seeing something, hearing something, tasting something, smelling, whatever triggers a memory. It's not you consciously awakening that memory. It's spirit turning that program on. Just like your computer, that memory. And the fact that you're thinking of Uncle Joe or Uncle George or whatever the names are, is because spirit are reminding you we are still around. Because we don't always know what our memories consist of. Excuse me. You don't. Our brains work so fantastically. They're still trying to figure out how a brain works. But it affects the heart. And the heart's got a brain now to tell us. And the emotional center of our bodies, of our beings, feel things. We've got all these things going through and our brains working it all out. We do so much automatically, we don't know we're doing it. But let me tell you something. Every single one of you is a psychic. To a greater or lesser degree, depends on whether you want to grow or not grow that ability. Your sixth sense, your safety mechanism. You feel comfortable in a room that you've never been in before, or you don't feel comfortable, you leave. You listen to your guts, your emotional center. Spirit always triggers the heart by memory. And over the years, since I was 3.5 years of age, I've seen things, felt things, heard things, tasted things that are not physically here. I don't know how I do it. But you don't have to know how to do it. As a psychic, you don't connect with spirit because it's a physical thing. It's a physical sixth sense to help you live each day in comparative safety if you listen to your instinct. Mediumship is a higher elevation of energy. And that helps you connect with the energy of spirit. And they can work together from the plane that they live in to this one. We go up, they come down, and we mix. All to do with the brain and the heart and the emotions and the physical body. So think about it. The brain, we only use 2 parts, maybe 3 parts of a brain. So you've got 7 parts doing whatever it's doing. It's alive, it's active. But I learned this many years ago. The brain is of electrical impulses. And electrical impulses are binary. They're either on or off in a certain sequence. Binary numbers. On, off, 1 is on, 0 is off. And anybody who's been to school and had binary classes, think about it. We are binary. We're made up of electrical impulses. So spirit works through those electrical fields of the body. They stimulate the memory core that's within us. So those other 7 parts of a brain, we don't know what's happening with it. Spirit are activating stuff in there, or our super subconscious is activated in there. Just imagine when your brain is working properly to its fullest. They made a film called Lucy about it. A stimulant that made this girl go into, how would you put it? An electrical impulse. She became a computer. I know it's sci-fi, but it was symbolic and it showed the change that could happen to the brain when the brain's opened up. and used to the fullest of its potential. We are only using the smallest fraction of our brains. Spirit, however, are not impeded by ego, because that's our biggest stumbling block, and it clouds the connections. Ego stops that connection with spirit, stops that psychic ability, ego, self, materialistic attitude, and living. We all go through it. I'm first one to stick my hand up. I've got an ego, but when I'm working with spirit, my ego's switched off. I don't care what you think of me. I only care what I can give you. My energy is high enough for me to understand what spirit are trying to convey through my talking to you. I have no perceived concept of what I'm actually going to talk about. I only made the title of the show up yesterday because I never know what's going to happen. I used to write stories and sermons, spend weeks over them, get to the service, I'd either forgotten the paperwork or start to read it and go off at a tangent. And the service turns out better because spirit are leading through me. I trust them that much. It works straight through. I've had guides, I've had 2 or 3 that have been with me most of my life. Some I hoped would never become my guides because I wanted them living on this earth. My mum, my dad, my grandparents. But my grandfather passed away first, then my grandmother, then my uncle, then my mum and my dad. And each one has come through to help me. Even my paternal father, he's come through to help. Because I'm big enough now to know that we all make mistakes in our life. Each one of us makes mistakes. But think about this. Those memories that spirit are using up here have to come through experience. The more experiences you have, good or bad, we normally have a choice, but sometimes we don't. We survive somehow, we don't know how. But it makes us stronger because we've learned something that, I didn't think I would live through that. I've been shot at, held up at gunpoint, been in 3 car accidents. My best friend took my place in the Falklands and never came back. By whatever grace of divine, I'm here today. And all those things that happened to me in the past make me stronger. I don't dwell on the past in a negative. I was talking to my host, Cece. It's self-enlightenment. The more we know about ourselves, the more brighter our energies become. Because you've got to acknowledge the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the only way to work with spirit and self is to put ego aside. It's like acknowledging that ego, acknowledging those faults and past, and the good stuff. How would you like to be treated? But are you treating people how you would like to be treated? Think about it. I don't go to a church anymore because it's too far away for me. But I do occasionally get the chance to go to churches. And I look at people and you hear them bickering away in the background and chatting away. And they're supposed to be spiritual people. And the negative about somebody. And I'm just go up to them and say, well, wonderful to meet another spiritual person. Are you giving out positive vibes? Oh, yes, I am now. Yes. Because I don't like people talking behind somebody's back, do you? No. You see, all this is to do with connection with self and spirit. You've got to have self and you've got to have spirit. They've got to be level with each other. Okay? They have to be level. Because you have to be balanced, like that electrical field. You've got the positive and the negative. The binary, on, off. You can't have one without the other. You can't live without energy of this type. But energy is always transformed. You were taught that at school. So take the concept of the spirit within somebody is transformed when the physical body dies. So why are you sad that they're not living the way you want them to? That's understandable. But think of this. They have not stopped growing. They've not stopped evolving. Because this energy of spirit doesn't cease to function. It's not animating a physical body anymore. The body's done its work. You've lived for whatever time on this earth. You've learned all these experiences. You've learned self-enlightenment to a degree. And this is what the show's about. Using one's past in a positive way. The good, the bad, and the ugly, as I said earlier. And if it wasn't for spirit connecting me to going solo media, I wouldn't be able to do these shows the way I do. I can't remember how we met up. But I'm so grateful that spirit put me in a position to meet CC and all the other wonderful people in Going Solo Network. You see, connections happen every moment of your life. I could be in the garden doing whatever I'm doing at the front, and the car goes past, somebody toots along, hey, Graham. Connection. Or I see somebody and wave to them, and I go, oh, hi, Graham. You see, how do you want to be treated? How would you like to be treated? But you've got to give what you take. The connection with spirit is easy if you're honest with yourself. I've got spirit trying to work through me, and that's why I'm swallowing a lot. Because I've been doing this so long and trusting them so much, they always work through me. Okay. I'm not going to allow them to do it today. I'm going to one day do a show and have spirit working through me fully. I haven't done it before on this show, but I want to show you the connections you can have with spirit and self without ego. You've got to put aside the ego. And you say, well, everybody's got ego. But are you selfish or selfless? I like to be selfless. At times I'm not. I'm a human being. I make mistakes just like anybody else. But this is what makes you what you are today. The whole purpose of living is connecting within yourself. And if you can get your energy high enough by giving selflessly, you'll be able to listen and connect with spirit better. But not everybody is willing to put the work in. Not everybody's willing to step down ego-wise and pass on messages. Honestly. A psychic can't do it. A medium does. That's why they're two separate words. Oh, thunder's coming around again. You see, I didn't know whether this show was going to be on air today because I had a power outage at 21 minutes past 4. It came on 15 minutes later. But they told us it wouldn't be on for another 4 hours. We made contingency, CC and myself, but I didn't need it. But I could. But you see, I'm doing the best I can now for you to tell you about connection with self and spirit. And every show I do, I point out all this stuff in the back, my past. They constantly remind me of what I used to know and live in. Think about it. I'm not afraid of my past. Are you? Are you doing better than you did yesterday? I like to give you time to think on things. And today's show, I'm a little bit more serious than normal because connection with spirit and self is very important. I joke about, my wife calls me the comedic medium, which I love. But people wouldn't take the sentence comedic medium as serious. And spirit mediumship is serious business. But it should be done with love and light. It should be done with laughter. The more happier you are doing that communication, that connection with spirit, uplifts people. Never give a negative. That's one of my favourite sayings. Never give a negative. I don't. I'd rather shut up and walk away. That, yes, in itself, walking away is a negative. But I'm not going to say some things because out of respect for my guides, for myself, and the recipient. Because I see a lot more than people realise. Most mediums do. And by respect and courtesy and treating others how you like to be treated has a big influence on what you are and what you give to a recipient. I'm getting so much information. Okay, the next thing is, if you want to come on my show, which will be on in a couple of weeks' time, I think it was the 7th of next month, I'm going to do a demonstration. There we go, Wednesday, September the 7th at 5 p.m. I'm going to do a bit of channeling because I'm your host of Dare to Dream, Graham Williamson. I'm an international intuitive evidential medium and psychic. And this is goingsolomedia.com. And if you want to contact me at my email address there, amedium77@gmail.com, or my website is mediumgrahamwilliamson.online, or give me a call on 352-409-1060. Please leave a voice message. If you don't, I'm not going to call you back because half the time it's a spam call. We all get it. Leave a voice message or send me an email or just leave a comment. But the show's about learning of yourself from what I'm giving you. Take one little piece or take the whole lot. It's entirely your choice. But you see, these shows that I do are to help you find you. Because you don't know truly, a lot of you, if you are a medium. You often, as a child, you think you remember something. Sometimes it's scary and you don't want to do it ever again. Sometimes it's, oh, I've just forgotten it. Or other times people tell you, don't do that. Not right. But there's always that doubt. I went to school at 3.5, telling my classmates I saw fairies at the bottom of the garden, and then I communicated with them. We just played with them. I came home a very depressed little boy that day. My grandmother asked me who we live with, what's the matter? I said, they all laughed at me because I said I told them about my fairy friends. So she got a glass of water and a candle. She said, what do you see through the glass of water, Graham? I said, candle, Nana. She said, yeah. And she said, come round the side. Glass of water, candle. What do you see? Glass of water and candle. She said, yeah, same thing, different perspective, different viewpoint. Oh, I could understand that. They don't see the way I see. Correct. After that, I didn't care. I was still a shy guy when I was a kid. It took me a long time to come out of my shyness, but I used to read and read and read and read and read and read all the time. I only come out of a book when the weather's changing or food. My family will laugh at that because I eat a lot of food. But it's when I left the forces, I decided I'm going to do what Spirit lead me to do. I've been training up until I left the forces in 1986. I avidly went to different churches whilst I was in the Navy, around Europe, mostly the Mediterranean, Norway, France, everywhere. Even down in the Falklands in 1984, 85. I wanted to learn about spirit, about people, about belief, because I wanted to learn about the connection I'd heard mediums have. I heard about psychics and what it meant. Each country has its own way of connecting with spirit and psychic abilities. And I respect that. I come from England. I live in America, been here 21 years. I've learned the American way of doing mediumship. But I bring my experience from my past to help other people know a little bit more, a little bit differently. Because we're all individuals. Remember, individual doesn't mean the same as everybody else. Literally. We can follow as a crowd or group. I never did. I was always a lone wolf, black sheep. I love being a black sheep. I love looking back and saying, hey, I know where you're going. Don't want to go there. Well, why not? I can see things. I'd make a laugh of it. But you see, spirit have a purpose to help us make our lives easier. If we listen, if we understand them, if we know the little telltale pointers that they try to give us, because they're around us all the time. All those loved ones are around all the time, 24/7. They'd keep you awake 24/7 if you allowed it. You know, your dreams are really a reflection of your day, of what your mind's been going through. And when you relax, those barriers all intermix, all the experiences you have. And spirit's up there saying, sift that bit out, put that bit over there, and help you sort it out. I know it sounds, made up, but think about it. You see, each of us process things differently. As I said, individuals process things differently. There's no two people exactly alike. None. Even twins have differences. But they have abilities as well, because my wife and one of her two daughters, they are linked telepathically. Wow. But they say, oh, that's maternal instinct. Call it what you will. But most mothers have this instinct. Some fathers do as well. You see, you have abilities that you're not even aware of. By watching these shows, I'm giving you different viewpoints, perspectives. So you can say, well, I remember when I was a kid, and I used to talk in a corner and play with my imaginary friends, but I never told anybody. Or when I did, I got into trouble. So you don't tell them anymore. Or you switch off to it, because it's easier not to upset everybody. But inside you is a piece, a germ of a seed trying to grow. And it's your choice whether you allow that seed to grow. I did. And a lot of my friends I know as mediums, I am so proud of knowing so many very good, gifted mediums. But also, you've got to be careful connecting self and spirit. You can say you're connected to spirit, but are you really? You see, people say, let's go to the psychic and find out if your mum and dad's around or your loved one who work, whomever's passed. Psychics won't tell you. Mediums tell you. Psychic will give you a lot of information, but they've thought it. It's not from spirit. And it's courtesy, respectful to the client. But I have a big problem with that. I'm stuck, old-fashioned person. I don't put myself first. I don't look good for you. I look good for spirit. Think about it. I'm here for them. But I'm here passing on their message to you. This is what the show's about. Connecting with spirit himself. And I don't think it matters which way round the sentence is, self or spirit. It's being true to yourself. Think about it. We're going to be going for a break for a minute, and then we'll be back, and I'll give you some more info. It's been a pleasure. Oh, we're back on. Good. Welcome back. I'm your host of Dare to Dream, Graham Williamson, international intuitive, evidential medium and psychic. And today's topic is connection with self and spirit. And I've been pretty serious on this one because I have learned a long time ago, you've got to be respectful at all times to those that you're talking to and for. Because I don't want to be Graham telling you this is what I think. Because no, I quit thinking a long time ago, which makes me laugh even saying it. Because I connected a long time to my past. My past doesn't hold me back. I accept all my faults and I do my best not to repeat or prolong them. I want to be a better person, not just for myself, but my wife and families. I've got families all over in England and America. And I've got friends all over the world. And this matters to me, which is why doing my show, Dare to Dream, on WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, radio, TV and podcasts is very important to me. If it wasn't for Cece producing the show, I wouldn't be here. It's amazing how my life changed when I came to America 21 years ago. I met somebody on the internet. Yeah, on the internet. I did a 5-minute reading because my show that I was doing at the time was Pal Talk, an old program back in 2001. It was only an hour long and I had 5 minutes left and this lady came in, started reading her. I said, I'll be back in 2 days, finish reading. She was there. At the end of the show, I asked her if I could talk to her. So I needed to pass on more personal information, not for a group of people. Well, we've been talking since June 2001 and it's now September tomorrow, 2022. My life evolved by meeting somebody that I wanted to help, and she's helped me more than I've helped her. I mean, my life has changed completely. I'm not holier than thou. I'm just better than what I was. I still have problems, health-wise, emotional, physical. But that's life. It's part of growing older and living. But it doesn't hold me down. It doesn't hold me back. Because this connection I've got with spirit and self is so much an integral part of who I am. Spirit, self, balanced. Each individual, but it's balanced. Well, my dog's come to say, Dad, I want. But when I talk about spirit with such passion, my dogs come around me. I'm surprised the cat's not here yet. But that shows me that I'm doing something right. When my hello, baby. Yeah, I've got to show her. There she is. That's Bailey. She always comes around when I'm talking spirit. But you see, this is what, when you give selfless, how can you not love an animal? So beautiful. All right, you can sit down. You know, it's the joy of living. I have such a fun with my wife's dog, because it's not my dog, it's my wife's dog. It's a joy. When you actually give of yourself to others, an animal included, something comes back. It's 1,000-fold better. The joy, the love. You feel alive. And all the other emotions that go with it. If it's negative, you've got to ask yourself, can I get away from this? And most times you can say yes. Changing your attitude is a good way. Changing how you speak. When it comes from your heart and not your head, people listen more. When you start talking from your ego, a lot of people, it becomes antagonistic. You know, they say like minds repel. Remember what I was saying about being electrical? We're bar magnets as well. We have a North Pole and a South Pole for electrical energy. And when you get like-minded people together, it's amazing. Remember I was talking about that 7 parts that we don't use of the brain? Well, because it's binary, when you put 2 binary equations together, 7 times 7, 7 sevens are 49. 49 parts of brain are working together at levels we don't even understand or know about. Hypothetically. I'm no scientist, I can't prove it. But I know that brains work by binary and it's electrical. And binary is times, what's it called? So it's a multiplication. As I say, I'm no scientist. I'm just a retired gentleman now. But you see, when you get another person, that's 7 times 49. And another person. And so it keeps on multiplying. All those parts of the brains that we're not using, or knowingly not using, working on levels we don't understand yet. But you see, the connections are always there. It's like radio waves and TV waves. You put your TV on and sometimes you can't get the channel. You know it's being broadcast, but you just can't get the TV channel. That's the same with spirit. They're working through your antenna, your energy, your bar magnet, your brain, your emotions, your physical being. But sometimes you're not aware of what to say or do it or give it. It takes a while to understand yourself first. I know when I decide I'm going to do readings, I do my intent and purpose and my prayers before I start. I listen to myself. I know if I've got a stomachache or toothache or whatever's wrong. I go, bit by an ant today. It's a big welter of one. But there's no pain now because I put some cream on it. But you see, I'm physically aware of what my pros and cons of my body, my mind are. But when I'm working with spirit as well, I pick up more symptoms. My body's saying, can you remember when you hurt your ankle or hurt your knee or banged your wrist or whatever? Spirit's reminding you that this person that you're talking to needs a connection, referring to whatever it is. Jostles their memory. Because spirit pick up from them and pass it through to me. I know what is mine and what belongs to spirit via the recipient because of that energy, that connection. You know, when you hug somebody, you get that warm feeling or not. Or you want to hug the person or you don't. Because your energy exudes further than the physical body. It's called the auric field. And people with high energy, that field's immense. If any of you have been to spiritual fairs and see aura photography, that's what it's about. You see, I've got my rainbow here. It's similar to the auric fields. My grandson drew that for me. But you see, this is what connecting with spirit and self's about. Knowing what's yours and what isn't. If it isn't yours directly and you know it isn't, then guess who it's from? Spirit. Or the energy from a recipient or a person you're with. I don't. You see, you have to know yourself to connect with spirit. Because your past has put all these steps behind you. And they go for how many years behind you. But each step's important. It's brought you to a level of knowing who you are. But can you accept it? Can you live with it? Can you share it? Can you give your experience in a positive way to somebody else? That's my job as a medium and a psychic. My job is to uplift you, to make you feel better in yourself. I can't make you or tell you A, B, C is the only way to do it because you are an individual. You find your own level. All I do is show you different ways. Most mediums don't tell you what you've got to do. Some do. It's fine. That's their way. I don't read the future because I don't need to know the future. I won't give somebody the future because I'm responsible for what I say. Any medium or psychic are responsible for what they say and do to a recipient or for a recipient. And that can get you into trouble if you're not being honest. Because connection with self and spirit is about honesty. As I said at the beginning of the show, you've got to be selfless. And that's difficult for a lot of people. Oh, I can tweak it. Oh, I can do this. Oh, I can do that. I can't do anything on my own. I've been doing this 65 years. I can't do this on my own. None of us can do it on our own, unless it's ego. We are working with our energy. We've uplifted our energy, the mediums have, enabling that vibration to meet up with spirit. And spirit know what your intent is, especially if you've spoken the words. Thinking it doesn't necessarily get the connection. That's why when you were a kid, you used to talk out loud to spirit. Spirit, people, animals, or whatever. You're not crazy. You're crazy when you deny the truth that is within you. And I hope you've enjoyed this show, because we're just about to close now. But I want to thank you for listening. And I want to ask you if you would like, share or comment, or even subscribe to Going Solo Media. Because we need you. This show has exploded all over. Well, the media of WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network of Radio, TV and podcast has gone phenomenal. Facebook and YouTube, go to the website, subscribe, comment, please. Because the more you share, the more communication we have, more connection we have. And this is Going Solo Media, Going Bold Wednesday. I'll be here again in 2 weeks' time. Well, I've just walked through the door. Look at that one. 7th of September, 5 p.m. And I want to thank you for watching and listening. Next week, I'm going to do something different. I'm actually going to ask Spirit to work through me better. Okay, so that's Wednesday, 7th of September, 5 p.m. EST. Because this is Florida, USA, where we live. And again, I do want to thank you for being here. And I'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.